you're
Sure.
doing what you're doing there, yeah.
Okay, so then I will call the meeting to order. My computer says 8:34. And I'll there's some kind of picture with me.
Ah.
The certification of open meeting law requirements have been met. And let's do a roll call of committee members. Beth Killian is here.
Buzz Sorgi is here.
Michelle Haynes is here.
Dan Schreiner here.
And who are our extra, now I can see everyone.
Oh, Rob Grover, Economic Development and Tourism Coordinator.
Reed Lally, Parks and Environmental Specialist.
Mark Carlson, Zoning and Sanitary Specialist and Acting Interim Director.
Chuck Zoner, County Conservationist.
Becky Arneson, Land Management Fiscal Coordinator.
Doreen Olson, public member or public person.
Welcome all. I guess we really can't adopt the agenda if we don't have a quorum yet, or approve the minutes, but we could go right to public comments. People wanting to make a public comment can call 715-538-1770. Oh, thank you for putting it on the screen.
Hi, I'm Doreen Olson, and I would just like to make a comment, please. I would like to publicly thank Reed as well as Rob for assisting with Take a Hike Cancer that took place on May 15th. With their assistance, and not only with some of the planning, but Rob allowing me to join him on public radio, WHTL, as well as posting it on their website. I did put advertisement in the paper, and there was an article. That event was successful. We had approximately 125 people who were present, with donations that were given prior to that as well as that day. We earned a little less than $5,000, but by the time matching donations and other contributions came in from personal individuals, we probably had a little over $12,000 from that particular event. Not only did that event raise awareness for blood cancers, but it also afforded us to get over the $50,000 mark. So now there will be a research project for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma aggressive type, in honor or sponsored in my daughter's name, Laura Olson. The other thing is that we piggybacked off on was to get more tourism to the Petrick Park area. Individuals that that came that day did not know that there were the trails there, did not know about the parking. The sand volleyball, I noticed, court was in well use during Arcadia days, and I've seen people using it on and off as I drive by. Since then, people have stated they have gone to the park. Their kids love the playground and love the trails. My niece, who hails from the Barron, and her friends from the Barron as well as Eau Claire area, has now since camped at the park twice. So there has been a lot more awareness. So not only did it raise money for cancer, but also brought awareness to Petrick Park. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Doreen. And I just want to say from Reed and I, we really enjoyed working on that project, and yeah, like you said, I think it did really helped. Didn't just raise money, but really helped get the word out even more about Petrick. So, and just to add, anyone that came to that event, we gave them maps of the park. We gave them some other brochures and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it was a great event. I wonder, Chuck, maybe now is the time for you to introduce yourself to the PTED Committee.
Hello, I'm Chuck Zoner, and I'm the new County Conservationist. I have a long history with Trempealeau County. At one time, I was the county board supervisor here. I also started my career here, but I went on to other things. I worked for Green Lake County, Brown County, and then I came back for La Crosse County and Winona County in the conservation and in planning and My last job was with the La Crosse County Bluffland Coalition, which was trying to coordinate trails between southern La Crosse and northern La Crosse. Is there any questions from me?
I just want to say, Chuck, thank you for coming and welcome.
Yeah, and thank you for hiring me.
Well, welcome, Chuck.
Thank you.
Great. When did you start?
Friday.
Oh, you are Brett. Day 2.
So.
I'll just add that even though this is day 2, he has done so much on day 1. Going through the land and water plan, I mean, he's hit the ground running.
Good for you. Welcome.
And I'm also very excited, Chuck. You said you've worked on trails and that sort of thing, and that's definitely a priority for us here on this committee, just providing more outdoor recreation opportunities. So excited to work with you on that stuff.
It sounds like the phone is ringing. Is there anyone else that would like to call in? 715-538-1770.
Oh, the dial tone when I picked it up.
Oh.
If you just tried to call in, please call back.
And I will ask for the third time, anyone in the public that wants to make a comment, call 715-538-1770. Hearing no one else, we'll close the public comment period at 8:40. The item number 7 is establishing a Petrick Park Land Acquisition Subcommittee discussion. And hopefully Jeannie will be coming soon so we can have action on this. I did receive a phone call last night from, oh no, great. Here's one of my people memory things. Shabilla. Mr. Shabilla, let's say. And
Would that
he
be
said
Daryl,
that
Beth?
yes, Daryl, thank you. I know it, but I can't get it off my tongue. Anyway, he said that they are proceeding with making the land acquisition. And when they took their vote, it was unanimous. So I told him we were going to come up with a subcommittee and I would get back to him.
Can I ask what the thinking behind creating a subcommittee is? We meet monthly as a committee, and is this something that we can handle as we are already established?
I guess I just thought there were, when I had contacted them and we met last month, that there were like 5 different areas to take a look at and consider. And instead of having all of us do it, maybe just 2 people could do the research. But we can certainly do it as a whole committee. It's totally up to you folks.
Beth, could you remind me what those 5 different areas are? I'm not being critical, I just don't remember.
Right. And hopefully Rob and Reed can help me remember. I know one is, we'll have to deal with how much is it going to cost.
Yeah.
We need to know what our future plan is of the park, and what the, whole thing encompasses. We need to get someone from the property committee involved, so that we can, find out if it's going to fit, within their scope. And there were 2 other things, but right now I don't have my paper with me on what they are. Sorry.
Well, I remember that one of the points of, I don't know if contention is the right word, was the fact that the associated clubs wants hunting available in the park on the property that we would be trading for. And that, I remember, was that's the issue that sticks out in my head.
Correct, that was another thing, that we'd have to come up with the parameters to allow the hunting. And then there was one more thing.
I thought on the hunting issue, this is Buzz, that Corp Council told us that was a no-go.
No,
Becky, you have a better.
No, Corp Council said that it is a go. We just have to create parameters in order to make sure that nothing happens with, that our our risk management committee isn't going to be upset with, because there were certain issues that they had concerns with, especially like with people getting injured, like field dressing animals and that kind of thing. So we had to make sure that we were putting those parameters together in order to make the hunting a go.
This is Michelle. Mike, how many acres, I read it, but I don't remember. Where are they, and can I see a map at all?
and anything else? I mean, we can't make any action on this at this time.
There it's on.
Now it's on. Make sure the red light's on.
Oh, should I start over? Okay, I would like a map of the acreage of what we're planning on selling, where it is. What was my other one, guys? I was gonna apologize for the last 2 meetings. I didn't get here, but I had to work. She didn't let me off. I wanted a map. How many acres is it, you guys? 7? No, the acquisition.
I think it's around 62 acres, I believe.
Okay, and where around is that?
It's just to the north of the park. So, west of the Trempealeau River, east of Highway 93, and north of the current park right now.
And it's just north of what the Ed Kulig land is, correct? It's the Ed Kulig of Elkrod.
That would be the ground that would be acquired, yes.
Did you say 67 or 62?
I believe 62. I'd have to double check, but I think it's around there.
Yeah, I can't.
Well,
The counties?
It's the existing land that they own now that is right next to the park. And that might have been item number 5, that the committee wanted to actually go and see where the land is.
That'd be nice.
Can you hear?
Make sure the red's on. There you go.
I've,
I'll just say from a staff perspective, and Reed and Becky chime in if you disagree or have other thoughts. I mean, as for staff, we're willing to go in any direction that the committee wants, but it really has to be the committee that does the thrust of making this decision, of course. So if it's something the committee wants to pursue, it's something we can work on. If it's something the committee doesn't want to pursue, we're okay with not working on it either. So it's a big decision, right? And it's a lot of money, and so it really has to fit into what is the long-term goal of our park system, that sort of thing. So just whatever direction you guys take, let us know. We're ready to do it. So.
Reed, if the committee would choose to move forward, have you looked into possible outside grants to fund portions of the purchase? How are we going to fund this thing?
That was actually the question I was just about to ask, if where the money would actually come from. I can certainly start looking into grants and that kind of thing. I would hate to dip into too much of the current park budget as is, just because there's so many plans and maintenance things that are going to be coming shortly down the road here. It'd have to be an external source of money for sure.
Yeah, how would the value be established?
Boy, I guess that would have to be something that we'd have to work out with the Elk Rod and Gun Club, I would think.
Well, we'd have to have multiple appraisals, I would think.
I would assume.
Has there been any numbers bandied about yet?
So the one, I'm assuming obviously we'd have to have the appraisals done, but I'm thinking that this is where the property committee would have to be involved, because I can't see us making a decision on purchasing anything without them, considering they're the ones who would be, I think, the last voice for that. I'm assuming that any land purchases or acquisitions would go through you guys. But the other question I had was, I know when in the initial meeting, it was discussed that there was about maybe 10 or 15 differences in acreage between the one that the Rod and Gun was going to get and then have us in turn buy this one. It sounded like in the end that the county was the purse strings in order for them to get the other property. So, I mean, just making sure that we're going to do this purchase that's based well for the county, not just because we want to help somebody else get up different land. That's my only concern, is that we look at this, what's going to happen with us and how we're going to take care of this land, what's going to happen with the park. We're going to have the hunting right alongside of it. I mean, it's always been there, but now you might have some meshing of lines, people coming across. I just have some nervousness when it comes to the camping and the hunting.
I tend to agree with Becky. I hope that if there is a transaction or something in the works, which it sounds like, Beth, from what Daryl was saying, I mean, I hope there's not this assumption on the Elk Rod and Gun Club's part that for sure the county's going to proceed with this.
No, I told him that we were going to set up the subcommittee because there were the things we needed to look at. And we also need to get exec finance involved because, they have to make the approval before we can do anything with money. So I guess that's why I thought maybe if we had just a couple people looking into some of this, instead of discussing it, but it doesn't make any difference to me. They have made an offer, and I have some details, but I'm not willing to share it in an open session.
Well, I think the chance for an opportunity, positive opportunity, is here, and we should take all the time we need, because the best way to, deal with the future of the park, I think, is to expand it for future programming and future camping and trails. And I think the hunting, while it is a concern, we can use that and work with the Rod and Gun Club for implementing hunter safety, and hunter safety is important no matter where you're hunting, but here, because of the camping, even more important. But I would like to positively explore this possibility, because I think it's, in the long run, an excellent move for the park and the county.
I guess I agree, Dan. We're not making any more land, and when contiguous parcels come up, we ought to evaluate the potential that they could provide for an improvement to the park. And then have a plan, and you're going to need resources. If the purchase would go through, then you need developmental resources, and so then a plan and blah, blah, blah. But first thing would be to see if other county board members through their respective committees are interested in moving forward with it. But what do we need to do? Wait till Jeannie comes to start moving something forward then, Beth?
Well, if we it says possible action. I'm not positive, but we could just volunteer people to be on a committee. I don't know if it needs to be voted on, does it?
My 2 cents would be, if it's just a working group, and you're not going to have a quorum of PTED members for whomever is going to be part of that, I don't think you need to have a formal vote on that. It's just a informal working group, kind of like our outdoor rec plan group. We don't we don't have to do public notices and that sort of thing, because it's not quorum. It's a small group working on it. So that'd be my 2 cents.
Would there be a conflict of interest issue if Bob was on that because of his relationship with the Elk Rod and Gun? He's an obvious choice and he has a high amount of interest, but I don't know how that would be viewed by other county board members.
I kind of like the way Buzz is going with this, because if you look at it both ways, he has great interest in the park and to make sure that that stays what it is. And he has the inside information and great interest to make sure that Elk Rod and Gun, I mean, he's a kind of a neutral party that would really, I think, give a good, opinion.
Well, and he obviously knows the lay of the land. I hate to volunteer somebody, but.
That'll teach him not to show up.
Okay.
I was going to volunteer him anyway, because, he is committed to the park. And, I didn't think about him being part of the Rod and Gun Club, but certainly he has the expertise. And I would be willing to help work on it.
Do we need a staff person also then, Beth, as a third?
I see Reed kind of smiling there.
Well, it's gonna be.
Well,
his baby.
you kind of point at towards one person, I'm assuming,
Well, yeah.
I can certainly help if need be. Absolutely. Because we're up for
I
it.
think-
Or go ahead, Beth.
I would say let's not put Reed officially on this little work group, but we could go to him as a resource. Anyone else want to join? I see Jeannie coming.
Sorry.
It's about time.
We had plumbing problems. You're supposed to sit? Oh, I am? Do I have to sit?
Jeannie, while you're getting settled, we're talking about coming up with a little work group on the acquisition of Petrick Park extended acreage. We kind of volunteered Bob Petrick, and I said I would help. Is there someone else with some more expertise that would assist in this?
Is Bob? He hasn't been here for a couple meetings.
I don't hear a lot of people jumping up and down for volunteering.
I can volunteer. I'm also on the property committee, so that would be a nice, whatever you call it.
Yeah, the property committee would kind of have a lot to say about it, right? And the exec finance? Okay. Is anybody here on exec finance? Do we have a quorum?
We do now.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, God, I'm so sorry.
Okay, we'll go with Bob, Beth, and Dan, and kind of see what happens, for our next meeting, which possibly could be at the park. I know we've talked about that. So if we go back up to number 4, Jeannie, we need to adopt the agenda and approve the minutes, and then we can jump back down to number 8 if you want to take over. It's difficult to be the chair over Zoom. Not that I don't want to do it, but it's just easier if you're there in person.
Is there a motion to, oh, I'm sorry. Thank God somebody's watching me. A motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Has
Aye.
everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did we already spend time in public comment? Okay.
Yes, so now we're down to number 8.
Okay. Hey, Reed, is this you?
This is me. Yes, this is me. Okay, number 8, the trailer for the park. Last fall, we sold the 2 trailers that we had out there. They were getting old, and we didn't have much use for them. And then all of a sudden now, we have people that are renting the Trempealeau lots down in the village. And kind of because of this, there's previously the county lots were being maintained by a lot of the owners. And now, because we're renting them out, I feel like there's a little animosity going on, and they've stopped maintaining those lots, so the county property down there is looking pretty ugly. And we've been borrowing private citizens' trailers and using people's trailers to get down there. I feel like the park needs to purchase a trailer now to get that lawnmower down there and maintain these lots, and then it'll be used for the tree and shrub pickup for the DLM, as well as if we do start managing other public properties in the county, we can use it to move equipment around.
There's a trailer right down the road for sale.
I bet there is. I
Is
should go
that
take a look
kind of
at it.
trailer?
Well, I've been looking around at trailers, and
It's on, right on this, what street is this?
to get a
One.
aluminum one, it's going to be just under $4,000. And it'll be in August. So I was hoping to get the committee approval. It's going to be around $3,750, but if we could approve it up to $4,000, that's kind of what I was hoping to get approval from the committee for. It would be used regularly, and once a week, driving down to Trempealeau, and then for other projects as well. So
Who will do the mowing?
the park staff will
Oh, the
do
park
mowing.
staff? Okay.
Yes,
And they're all.
I brought them down there, showed them where to mow and everything, and
Okay.
there's.
Is it a lot of mowing?
I'd say between drive time down there, mowing, drive time back, half a day to 3/4 of a day, I'd say.
Okay.
Did you get a couple of bids on the trailer since it's $4,000, or we don't have to do that under $5,000, or what's the magic number?
It'd be, boy, what is it? Is it $2,000 or more?
Two?
It's $1,999.99.
That's right.
For only one. So $2,000 and up, you need to have
So you've
two.
We
gotten
do
a couple bids
We
in?
do have a couple of bids, yes.
Okay.
I don't know if, do I need to present those to you right now? I guess I don't have the receipts or anything, because every time I've printed them off in the past, usually it wasn't passed around or looked at, so.
The $3,750 or whatever
Yep.
is the lowest bid?
Well, it's the lowest for the type of trailer that we want.
Okay.
You can get different styles that are much less.
Oh, yeah. But
Like-
you have to be able to haul the mower.
That's right, and it's an aluminum one, so it's obviously a little bit nicer, and it's gonna hold its value,
Okay.
And it's not gonna rust.
and it won't rust. And it's light, you can move it around pretty easily, just one person,
Oh, that's good.
without having
How
to
big is
blow
it?
your back out. It's gonna be 7x12,
Okay.
one axle.
Is that
Probably
enough?
ballparky.
It's big enough. Before, when I brought it to the committee, it was one to haul the UTV and the mower, but I just didn't see us having that as a scenario that we're gonna use that often. So I think just the 7x12 is gonna be sufficient.
Well, you need like a 7x16 to haul them both.
Yeah, typically they come standard 18, but I think 16 would work. So,
Where did you get these bids? You can tell us.
Frenchville Trailer Sales. What was the place up there by Mondovi?
Loomis?
That's what it was. And then a couple of places down in La Crosse County.
Okay. They all pretty close, were they?
They were all within $100, $200, depending on which, this one I believe was like L something trailers. The other bid was, they carried S&S trailers. You got bids between steel ones and aluminum ones. I can certainly provide the committee with those numbers or quotes. I can send out an email or whatnot, but
How does that play with the existing budget?
I was waiting for that. Yeah, we've done some looking at the budget and everything, we're fine, that's not a problem. We have, because the park is non-lapsing, we roll over the excess that we have, so we're fine for that part of it. And the other thing to add for that, the trailer size, the truck that pulls this trailer isn't a huge truck. It's the smaller truck, so we can't go anything too large, especially to make sure we're keeping with legal standards for driving on the road.
What do you mean by smaller truck? Is it like a Coronado or a Dakota?
it's
small
a two-wheel drive Ram. It just doesn't have the receiver or the hitch on it.
Oh.
1500. Yeah, it's 1500. Yep.
Okay.
So it'd just be nice to have allow the park staff to just be able to use that truck that we keep at the park to pull it around rather than have to use one of the ones from DLM here.
Is a limiting factor a receiver hitch?
Correct.
Blake actually went on Friday and got quotes and stuff from different places to put the
Right.
receiver hitch in, so, and it was very, very reasonable.
Very reasonable, yeah.
So,
Can we just jack this a bit to get a receiver hitch on the pickup and approve like 4,200 or something, 43, whatever?
What were the
We
bids
could.
on the hitch?
the hitch was like 2, maybe 300 with everything
Oh,
installed.
okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even need
Don't
committee
even
approval.
need committee approval. for that.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll just do that as a separate
It's
transaction.
just a safety issue to get a receiver hitch on that
Probably
thing.
have a hitch anyway.
I was kind of surprised to see that it didn't even have one.
I can't believe they don't come with them.
You would think so, on pickups anyways.
So, you need a
Jillian
motion
would
then?
make,
Yep.
yeah, Jillian would make a motion to approve the purchase of a Petrick Park trailer up to $4,000.
And I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay.
Well, thank you.
Jeannie, you're up.
No, well, oh, we're done with that?
Yep.
Oh, I'm
Yep.
sorry, I'm sorry.
9.
Okay, 9. I was reading number 9 and didn't say it.
I'm gonna give you some paper here, Jeannie.
Oh, yay, thanks.
And just while Reed's handing that out, at last month's meeting, I talked about just some possible ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act priorities from this committee that we could look at, and then we discussed having Reed look at some things for the park as well. Just to give an update, and I think any of the county board members, you probably can shed more light on this as well. We as of yet don't have an established system for how the county's ARPA monies are going to be given out. That's correct? It's still getting kind of figured out on how they're going to do that. So, again, we're just trying to get our ducks in the row. Once that process is established, we can put some ideas out there and our proposals. And again, I talked about it last month, and now Reed's going to talk about stuff for the park. So,
You bet, yeah. So I compiled a list of things that, some things that will need to be done at the park. And then obviously there's a wish list. Some of them are a wish list as well here. So let's just start right at the top. Lower shelter remodel, obviously been working on that. And then with the prices as of late, just haven't really pursued any bids or quotes on anything. Obviously everybody knows the expense of materials right now, but it is coming down, so that's something I'll start looking into. And then we would like to run water to it, which right now there's no water, and it needs a 220 volt electrical installed in the building to run some of the appliances that may be brought in there. Moving down the septic system, it's working, but it's obviously old. That's just, to be honest, I'm not an expert on knowing when it's time to actually replace something like that. Mark, you might have a pretty good idea on that. I assume just when it starts plugging up and not working anymore, or I would assume that's when it's time to replace, or after a certain amount of years. I guess I'm not sure, but
And if you run water to the other building, you're gonna have some type of septic there too.
okay. Well, that's good to
Drain
know.
for the sink and all that stuff over there.
Right. Okay.
Has anybody, been out to the park, like a septic person to look at it and evaluate it and?
Well, when I've had issues in the past couple of years, when the plumbers have come out, that everything appears to be working just
Okay.
fine with the current system. So, I'm concerned we're gonna have a big weekend such as 4th of July, Labor Day, Memorial Day, actually for the arts, and something major is gonna happen. It's just, I kind of lose sleep over that,
I know that
But,
just our little cabin, we have to have it checked every 2 years, and
Mm-hmm.
the checklist goes to the DNR or something in Douglas County to, show that we're maintaining it. But
right.
It should be checked, although I thought, wasn't long ago, I don't know if you were on the board yet or not, that we had trouble with, oh God, what was his name? he didn't fix it properly, so we went and got it done again. That's when Mr. Lean was around. And do you have any notes or anything about it? Is it?
Oh, I could certainly look back and see what was done. I'm sure there's record of
Yeah.
But
any
I
work
think
that
it
was.
should be looked at, especially since they asked you for the arts.
Yeah, that's coming. It's
Like
what, a little over a month away.
before then, just have,
I was
I
planning
don't know
on
if
that.
it's Semmingson or whoever.
That's
I think
usually
it
who we
was
have out there.
Semmingson
Yep.
who does, who, you know, and they're really good, so,
Mhm.
not that I'm advertising for them, but.
No, but they've been doing
They're
it for
just
so
up
many
the
years. They
road.
know exactly how it
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
how it's set up. So.
Mark, have you ever looked at the design on that thing? What it
I've
was?
seen it, yeah, I mean,
What's
have
it
no
designed
choice
for?
to- I don't know right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It's designed, you know, I don't really, I've never seen an issue with it out there. I mean, there's been no ponding in the septic.
Yeah, if there's
and,
no ponding and it's
But I
seeping
mean,
the
the
sand.
past maintenance people can't be doing plumbing without some type of permitting or, you know, the past maintenance guy that I think Michelle's referring to, I think it was water line issues. I don't know if it was septic issues. It was like running water to the sites and it was all done like red-green lake kind of contract, you know, but that would not be, I wouldn't think that would be an acceptable way to handle things out there. You'd have to make sure it's done right.
Well, absolutely.
And then sanitary wise, I mean, it gets maintained just like any other system in the county. And I've never seen any issues with it, but it's something will happen, it will happen on the busiest day of the year. I mean, that's when it's gonna be overused. I mean, obviously, it's sitting there doing nothing right now, and you wouldn't see it. But if there's tons of, I mean, that's something to think about when, you know, we start expanding all this and bring Ashley to the arts, because the sanitary dump station goes to the septic system. And if you start dumping gallons and gallons and gallons into that sanitary dump station for the campers, it's just adding that much more water to the existing system, so.
What would it entail to do a separate dumping system for campers and such?
It would, you know, the DNR's involved with some of those. It could be just a huge type holding tank type thing, and it wouldn't be too hard to do. I mean, because there was some concern about, you know, the sanitaries in these campers have that chemical stuff in it, that being added to the septic system. I did ask, you know, the Department of Safety Professional Services person at the time, he has since retired, what's the risk of running that to and there's no guidelines that says you can't do it, but it can't be beneficial. That's why you gotta be worried, you gotta be concerned when you start adding all these sites and they all got big RV campers and they dump it into that tank and it runs right into the septic system.
Groundwater into the Trempealeau.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, it's.
All that blue
Something needs to be,
crap.
yeah, the blue water that smells good, because so it doesn't stink, you know, it cannot be beneficial for your sanitary system. And
Maybe-
campers, you know, they don't care what they're putting down their toilet, you know, and they just put whatever they want down there, and as long as it goes down their flushes.
Maybe we should look at what it would entail to have a separate dumping system for the campers instead of, I mean, because you're right, that's really hard on our I can't even imagine our.
Yeah, I
poor
mean, it's
septic
surprising
system.
that there hasn't been some type of issue about, you know, I mean, it's being more used than it has been ever before,
Right,
you know,
right.
and I think it's a ticking problem that could happen, and it will happen when it's,
During
when
Ashley
you
of the
don't want it
Arts.
to happen is when
Yeah,
it'll
right,
happen,
right.
so. And it's something to seriously consider when you're adding all this stuff to the
Yeah,
campground.
you're right, I think that's,
You know, and you know, need to really be concerned about that.
we should look at, and especially if you can just do a big holding tank that gets pumped, you know, that's way less than the $20,000 for a new drain field or whatever. And we wouldn't want it to go in a drain field, actually, so.
And then the other building you're talking about remodeling, you know, you might want to consider some type of drainage system or a holding tank, because if you remodel and add water, you know, you could add some restrooms to the building, and you might as well plan ahead with all that right off the bat, you know. But if you do have running water there, you gotta have some type of septic.
Place for it to go.
Right. The sink can't just run out onto the ground, you know.
Go ahead, Becky.
So the question I have is, if we do that, let's say we did that holding tank thing, would that stop the clogging issue that we're having right now? Because at least 2 of our major holidays, the dump station is clogging up. Like there's I don't know, some sort of pipe that they have to come out, and we've had to have them come out emergency-wise at least 2 times a year to get this fixed. And it's always right around Ashley for the Arts that this happens.
Well, I mean, the holding tank is just a tank with a pipe that goes into it, and I mean, here you got the pipe going in, and it makes a turn and runs to the septic tank behind the building. So that wouldn't be happening anymore if you had a holding tank. So that's probably where it might be plugging, because you got an elbow and then it runs to the tank. Here you would just have a standpipe and it runs right into the big giant holding tank.
I'm sort of thinking that might want to move up to our number 1 list of priorities.
Question. Does the ARPA money have restrictions on how it can be used?
So there's a pretty broad interpretation on how you can use it for infrastructure projects. So again, there'd have to be, we're kind of putting our wish list together, and then, what we think will fit into what the guidelines are for the ARPA monies. And if it turns out for some reason, working through our corporation council or further guidance that the Department of Revenue gives, if it shows we can't use it, well, then we take it out of our wish list. So it's pretty broad right now when it comes to infrastructure projects. And again, maybe some of the county board members know a little more about that. But yeah, so again, we're putting our wish list together.
Have you prioritized the list you've given us, Reed?
This is not prioritized,
They
no.
look kind of random, yeah. Seems like we should have that prioritized by you, and then we have a committee discussion at our next meeting.
Okay.
And then it would have to go to exec finance so they know that we're thinking about other ways to use this money rather than.
Right. I didn't want to fully prioritize. I mean, I did some to some degree here, but at the same time, I thought some of it would be up to the committee, what you guys feel is priority and what not. I just compiled a list here of things that I'm thinking for the future. So does that mean, do we want to proceed with this list, or do we want to wait until next committee meeting?
No, well,
And I can bring it
what's our
back.
artificial water feature? Is that like a water park?
Well, I've got a lot of, in my head, things I'd like to see the park turn into, but we need something that's going to attract people, like,
Okay.
so they can get in the water. The Trempealeau River is not really an attractant of, people wanting to swim and come out and, you certainly can, but I don't know if you've seen any of these artificial lakes / bump pads / playgrounds and water. I mean, I really think we could fill this park every weekend if we had something like that, in the overflow areas even. But that's long-term.
The horse arena has some, there's a group that's kind of, they're not involved anymore, they're not doing anything there.
Well, that's right. I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. Sorry, you were going
No,
to
you're
talk
fine.
back.
It was Steve,
God, I am terrible with names. I'm
Steve
so
is his
sorry if you're
first name.
listening.
yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
one of them. And then there's a wonderful woman who, God, she was always so involved in all this horse arena stuff. The problem is nobody is paying to use the facility. Nobody is putting any donations to use the facility. And it's just sitting there. This year, we've actually finally seen somebody out there grading it or breaking up and kind of doing a little bit of upkeep on it. But otherwise, it's literally just sitting there.
And there hasn't been a single horse event there.
No, there has been 0 events. We have had some questions about people wanting to use it for maybe horse camps, like maybe teaching riders, that kind of thing.
They used to do that.
The problem is this would be somebody who would be earning money with a business out there, but yet we won't do anything with insurance. They have to come up with their own insurance, and then you'd have somebody using county property to make money. So, I don't know what the conflict of interest, if there's one there, but
You'd have to charge them.
right, there'd have to be some charge. And there's supposed to be a fee per hour, per every couple hours anyway, and we have yet to see anybody put any money into any of it. So, and if they're just out there riding, they need to have insurance. They can't just come out there to ride and not have anything, because the county is not liable. We do not have any insurance on it.
And I think most riding places, I mean, because you go into the barn, and there's a big sign, you know, we're not responsible for any acts. That's at all training stables and everything.
Okay. And I don't remember, do we have any signage out there, Reed, for?
There should be. There was at one time.
Yes, I haven't been to that side of
Because
the park
there's
in
like,
so long.
it's like legal right, I mean, these signs are put together, they were put together, you know, a long time ago about word for word what you're supposed to put up there regarding riding out there, that nobody's, you know, you kind of are doing it at your own peril.
Right.
But
I
it used
did
to be
know-
used a lot. 4-H used it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, last year there were no horse shows,
Right.
barely any, so.
I did notice one day last week when I was coming into Whitehall that there was a trailer and with a horse outside the trailer there. That's the first time I have ever seen any horses in that area.
And we don't charge if they're truly legit using it for 4-H. Not if you're a 4-H member and just feel like riding your horse, but if you're truly legitimately using it for 4-H or FFA or something like that, we don't have problems in not putting a fee towards it, because that's a youth organization, that's a youth camp. But if it's just somebody out there who just wants to go out and just ride and do poles or barrels or anything like that, if they're gonna bring their own equipment, that is not directly affiliated with that organization for an organization event, then yeah, they do need to cover the cost.
I don't think it's been a long time since it was ever really advertised as a possibility. I mean, you know, you could charge, if somebody wanted to have a horse show there, like, I don't know, the Midnight Riders, I don't know if they still exist.
It's only like $10 every couple hours is all they've asked for donations. It's nothing
Yeah,
major.
but if you
and-
had a major horse show there, I mean, this is outrageous, but when there's shows in St. Paul, it's like $30,000 for the Arabian Horse Association to rent it for 3 days. So, and I know the Bit and Spur, people have to, if you're not a member, you know, you have to pay to use the place out in Elk Lake or whatever, so.
I will say that we did have one event out there last year. I do remember this now. Somebody had, I don't remember what it was for, but they had a bunch of people out there to do trail riding and stuff in the area. We did have an issue though, because it was specifically stated not to have the horses in the camping area, and they fenced off an area in the actual campsites and had their horses in the camping area. So even if it was directly told to them not to. So there is that issue, because the
Right.
horses are not allowed in or in sites 1 through 19. So we do have to make sure we kind of probably have more signage out there for that too. But I know that there was a small event out there, but they didn't actually use the facility for, it was more or less just camping there to do trail riding in the area, from what I understand.
Okay.
What, artificial water feature, I missed that, what was the idea of that? I got heard of scarf.
Well, were we gonna maybe revisit this list next time in a different?
Yeah, maybe you should prioritize it,
Okay.
and then we can make some decisions.
And then the committee can
Yeah.
say yes or
And
no.
we were just talking about, you know, what would it entail, taking over the horse arena and changing that, and how it might impact people, but if
Right.
no one's ever using it, and we aren't really advertising it, and,
Right, because, I talk to the park staff after every weekend, and, it's rare to have people out there. I'd hate to take it away, this is just that was just a thought I had in my head.
Right.
If we wanted to bring a lot of people into the park, I don't know if the park is really in the business of trying to have a lot of revenue from camping, but if you had something that attracted, children to the water in the summertime, I've been to a lot of campgrounds where if there's some sort of whether it be a pool or some kind where people can come and swim, I think you could fill up that entire overflow area pretty much every single
okay, then
weekend.
let's build an in-ground pool like they have at Stony Creek, or,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Some sort of thing like that, because you
Yeah,
just don't see
okay.
people fighting to get into the Trempealeau.
so So it's not really artificial water, it's a water feature.
It's a water feature.
The artificial threw me, it's like fake
Yeah.
water? What kind of water?
Yeah, well, maybe I shouldn't use the term artificial, but, you know, it kind of is, just per se. I guess every
Like not a
pool is.
lake.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it now.
But it's
A
very
pool's a
expensive
good
though, and
idea, though.
it's a lot to run, but it costs a lot of money up front, but it's, you know, is that the route though the park wants to take, to have that many people out there all the time in the summertime?
Yeah, that's.
That might not be
That's a good thought.
might not be a route
It'd be
committee
another
wants
way to
go.
pull in like day use too.
Right.
We could
Yeah.
actually start, have a camp host out there, pull in some day use fees. If, I think what you're talking about is anybody's been to Whispering Pines, or, there's a new place over in Sparta now, and it's a pond of sorts, but it is, it's not like, you don't get the algae and stuff in it. It's like a pool, but in a pond, but it looks like a pond.
Okay, like they have
So-
a liner or something? and
Yeah,
put-
and it still keeps with the existing like layout and like feel of the park, but yet it's a safe water feature.
Yeah. Oh,
And
cool.
some people have like those blow up rafts and stuff that people can be out on and different things like that, and those are really pulling in lots of people right now. It's like a huge aspect for a lot of campgrounds.
Yeah, it'd be,
But-
right now, it'd be packed every single day, because it's,
sure.
110 degrees out.
Hey, guys, sorry to butt in here. I just want to remind folks
Oh, we
that
gotta
we
be outta
do
here.
have exec finance coming in at 10 o'clock. So,
Oh, okay.
I mean, that,
Okay,
your
yeah.
purview of what you want to discuss. Doreen, I think you wanted to just say something really quick, too.
Yes, I just wanted to mention about the playground. Independence, the city of Independence just purchased a new playground for Four Seasons Park, and they were able to get about a $40,000 playground for $17,000. So you might want to contact them to see where they looked at sales or closeouts, whatever it was. And also, talking about that artificial arena, Mike Warner also put in a pond maybe about 10 plus years ago, and does have fishing and stuff like that, but it isn't a real attraction for their area, and I don't know what he did to put it in, so.
Oh, okay.
What was his name?
Mike Warner.
Mark Warner from Independence.
Also,
Just
the
south on Q.
Pigeon Rod and Gun just put up a really beautiful new playground. And I think I gave you at the last meeting, there's tons of grants for playground equipment, tons of them.
I think we were going to, Joe Feltus had offered to, he's very involved in the Arcadia Lions Club to help work on some of that as well, so.
And Whitehall has a big Lions Club too.
You bet.
They do a lot of, they did the one in Strum, or Leva Strum Lions helped. Okay, so you're gonna bring that back next week?
You bet.
All right, number 10. Blair property discussion. Who's in charge of that?
I don't know where to start on this because it's been brought up so many times in the past, but if there's a way we can somehow utilize the property, it's off, I believe, Arneson, is off Breckenridge, off Arneson Ridge. I was thinking maybe we could have some sort of rustic camping going on there.
Is that 40 acres there?
Total, I think it's like 240,
Oh, my.
It's over, about
260?
Yeah.
about that.
Huge area. I mean, a lot of it is used for, it's rented out for farmland right now. But yeah, there's some really good sites for rustic camping.
There is. There's a pond there right now, and to be honest, I don't know if can the public just go on there? I've heard.
Is it county owned? We
It
own
is.
Oh, okay, yeah, anybody can go.
County owns it, healthcare center, I believe.
There's a residence there.
There is a residence.
Okay.
But
Manages it.
basically, I was just having the discussion out there about, potentially doing something to the property, camping-wise, maybe just to bring people in and have another option for people in the county to, enjoy the outdoors and have a place to go and camp. It'd be just rustic. There wouldn't be, bathrooms put in or electricity or anything like that. But we could just establish an area that maybe is mowed with some signs, put some fire rings in. I believe there's a new road in there going in there right now. Actually, I know there is. That was put in, I believe, 2 summers ago. wondering if the committee would be interested in supporting something like that. Or should we just focus on the main park, Petrick, for now, or what are your thoughts?
I personally would like to see it, kind of walk it, get a better idea of
Right.
what we're talking about. Same with the Petrick Park. Like to get a
Can
feel
you
for
send a
it.
Google Maps link out on it?
I certainly can, yes.
So we can actually, that's kind of step one to start looking at it, but yeah, we need to look at it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things that can be done there. I mean, the property as a whole needs an awful lot of work from a management perspective, but as far as camping goes, you know, we clear some brush, make some areas, keep them mowed. There would be another use for the trailer again.
Is part of it wooded?
A lot of it's wooded.
I assume people are hunting it then.
Actually, it's apparently it's closed to public hunting from what I hear.
Yeah, let's have a day trip. I mean, we were, Becky, remember when we walked those two properties that somebody was gonna give to us?
Mhm.
I mean, one of them
That
was
Gail
like
Gabriel?
incredibly beautiful.
Yes. Yep.
Gail Gabriel.
Oh,
Gail
God, that
Gabriel.
one was amazing. Would have
We had the
been,
plans all done for it. It was
I
gonna
know.
be gorgeous.
yeah,
um,
so I'd love to go see it.
Well, you could probably maybe do both properties, do the
Yeah.
one over by the park and the one over by Blair and get it done in one day.
Yeah.
Maybe the next meeting.
The director of the healthcare center on the line and would like to speak to this issue. So,
To the camping issue, to the Blair project?
yes, Blair property. You want me to?
Well, we aren't, we aren't making a decision, well, we don't have a lot of time for a big discussion. Maybe,
So I think what we're gonna do today is we're not taking any action if anything is gonna move forward. Yeah, so what, yeah, sure, so what we'll do is, you know, not trying to cause any trouble here. Someone will reach out to you if there's any more discussion on that, okay? All right, have a great day. All right,
Is that Jerry?
yeah.
You can tell by their voices.
so he's concerned about,
Obviously, if there was gonna be any movement in this, you know. Obviously, if there's gonna be any movement with this, it'd have to be a
Right.
discussion with the
Right.
healthcare center, who is the steward of that property committee. I think, and Jerry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be short with you there. We're just trying to get this meeting done by 9:45. So no disrespect if I cut you off short there, but it's just a real initial conversation, you know, that, yeah, I think maybe we've had before. So I'll leave it with that.
It'll probably be on the agenda next month. No? Yes, maybe
if it is,
so.
invite him.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we invite, here?
You betcha, yeah,
Sure.
no doubt.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking for that property there,
Right.
if that would be a possibility. I mean, obviously, if the healthcare center is, you know, managing the property, then we have to have them involved
Right.
with what their thoughts are, so.
I mean, it's just like out there, something that we're not considering right now, because we have
Yeah.
a lot on our plate with with Petrick, so.
Correct.
But if we put it on next week just for him to come and talk about what he thinks and how
bet.
how the healthcare center manages that, but it's owned by the county, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Any more discussion on that? Okay, let's move to number 10, broadband community establishment discussion.
Yeah, so this came about, Tim Robertson and I have been in discussions about just setting up a broadband committee, but it really wouldn't even be a committee, it'd be a working group. As you know, probably right now more than ever, there's grant monies out there to help expand broadband internet access within rural areas. A lot of that came from ARPA monies that the state got, and the state is allocating it towards that. And my opinion is that we'll probably see over the next many years more grant opportunities for broadband expansion. So we don't need to take any action on this because it's just going to be a working group. I just wanted to bring it to your attention because it is something I'll be working with Tim and other stakeholders on quite a bit, in the months ahead. It's important issues for us. But what this committee would do, and I'll just read off a little bit, the purpose of the Broadband Committee is to create a group with the following mission: to assist in the process of coordinating and acquiring funds for expanding broadband access throughout Trempealeau County. We'll likely refine the mission and vision for the group once it's formed. And Tim kind of put this together for me. So we wish to involve stakeholders from the following entities: Trempealeau County, obviously, school districts, townships, hospitals and clinics, and businesses. We expect the activities of the working group committee to be defining the geographical and commercial areas of need, reviewing potential solutions, coordinating efforts to obtain funding, and advising and communicating with agencies and businesses. So, and then what we expect the work group will do is, we're going to send out invites to potential participants and attendees soon. Meet sometime in July or August to define our mission, discuss options, and select leadership, and then meet with our telecommunication and broadband providers sometime later this year. And some things we won't be working, or some things we expect the committee will not, is be funded. So this group will be looking for grants. We're not expecting it to be a group where the county puts any money in terms of like committee members and that sort of thing. Have any authority. It's really just advisory. And then we're hoping to set it up in a way, though we certainly will invite the public, it wouldn't be subject to public meeting laws in the same sense. It won't be a committee, it'll be a working group. So really, what the hope is, again, grants from the federal, state, and then even private entities, we can help establish plans for when those monies are available. We have basically shovel-ready plans, if you will, to apply for those grants, working with the telecommunication companies, working with all of them. TCC only doesn't operate in some areas. CenturyLink doesn't operate in some areas. All the different providers, a lot of them are just in some areas. So it'd be working directly with them on it.
Have the holes really been mapped in the county where it isn't, so that exists already?
Yes, there is quite a bit of that. As you know, oh gosh, now the term's escaping me at the moment, but last year we became a telecommuter forward community. And a piece of that is we have TCC, who sort of serves as our I guess, hub of information in terms of what broadband speeds are in other pieces of the county. So there is pretty good mapping with that. Then the other piece of that is taking that mapping, because really for these grants, the more people you have with some skin in the game, well, what's best is if you could have like the township and the county and the local telecommunication provider willing to put in some matching grants or some matching money for some of these grants. It really helps your ability usually to get some of these grants. So the hope is just to bring as many people as possible together when these grants are available to be able to apply for them pretty quickly and have plans in place. So again, this is just advisory, just letting you know that this is something we're going to be working on. Some of you may get some invites to come and participate on that sort of thing, but we're excited about it, and will be really good for the county. So.
Okay, sounds good.
This is Beth. I was at the town's unit meeting a week or two ago, and Cheryl Rue from TCC was there to speak, and she did talk a bit about this topic. So she would be another person, through TCC to be talking to. Also, Dan Lilla, who's the chair of the unit group, he might be a person to contact also.
Thank you, Beth. Yep, they're both on our list, so.
Good. Anything else?
That's it on
Anybody? Okay. 12, ARPA money for Trempealeau County discussion.
Well, I've just left that on as a running kind of item. Again, we're still waiting to hear what kind of the process will be for applying for those monies. Like I said, last month we talked about some possible priorities. Reed was going to bring some priorities this month, and we'll just kind of keep keep on that, keep our ear to what the process is, and when it gets closer to being able to know what the process is, so that we're ready to apply. So
Is ARPA funds on the exec finance committee for discussion today? Does anybody know?
I am not sure about that.
You might want to check, and if it is, you might want to join the meeting if possible.
Yep.
I mean, I'd stick around, if it is, but we have a meeting at 10.
We have our outdoor rec plan meeting, yeah.
Is there an estimate on a timeline when that money's going to be released? And because I expect things to get interesting here on the county level when that money is in hand, because then, you know, the mud wrestling starts, and people negotiating for cash.
I
I
believe-
think half of it has already been released.
Yes.
We may have,
I think you're right. I think, I wish
we
Paul
may have
Severson was here.
2.5 million already, or whatever.
I believe one this year, one next year.
Yeah.
I'm sure Deb Sukla or Paul Severson are watching and they're saying we're wrong, but it's 2 installments and you have till 2024 to use those funds, from what I understand.
I mean, it has been released, but I don't know if it's in our bank account.
Our, the website for Trempealeau County shows the exec finance meeting as agenda pending still,
Oh, okay.
so don't have
All right.
access.
Okay, any more discussion on 12? Alrighty, then Trempealeau County Outdoor Rec Plan update.
Really, the biggest update is that, you know, we've got our working group with Gene and Buzz and myself, and we're working with Abby Nicewander of the Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission. We actually have a meeting with Abby later today, about 10 a.m. She'll actually be here in the building, and you know, we're at the point now where we're looking over the survey element. You know, probably that'll be a big piece of our discussion today, because what this survey will be is I'm planning to both have paper forms and you can do it online, basically figuring out what folks' priorities are, you know, citizens, all sorts of different stakeholders, our municipalities, our, you know, rod and gun clubs, all these different organizations that are part of our outdoor rec infrastructure here in Trempealeau County. And so much of it is one volunteer, and so much of our outdoor recreation too, which is a unique challenge for us in Trempealeau County, isn't publicly owned lands. So, you know, making sure that we get this survey out to as many stakeholders as we can. I hope to approach the Trempealeau County Times to see if they'll do a little write-up as well to help get the word out once we're ready to release that survey. And then, you know, bringing back that data will help inform our discussion as we put more of this, the outdoor rec plan together. So that's kind of where we stand, though I'm sure we'll have more to discuss at our next meeting. Yeah, that's where we are right now.
Okay. 12 or 14, Economic Development Tourism Update.
Yeah, so I just wanted to go through just a few things. Lots going on right now. You know, we're in the thick of summer tourism, but all sorts of big and small projects going on. Something that I just started working on with Melissa Kono of our extension agency is a downtown inventory app that she's been working on. So. Long story short, what this app will be is the ability for business owners, people interested in coming into the county, or people wanting to learn a little bit more of the history of our downtowns. It'll be an app with all the buildings of the downtown. There'll be a picture. There'll be some history. There'll be sort of in-depth information about those buildings. Also, there'll be information such as, you know, would the owner be willing to allow someone to do a pop-up in there? Is it available for rent? You know, does it have a commercial kitchen in it? That sort of thing. So it gives us a more specialized inventory of some of our downtown buildings. Because, you know, if you go around Trempealeau County right now, some of our downtowns are really thriving, and some are in a transition, and some need a lot more help, right? So a piece of that is having information for folks. You'd be surprised how often I get an email or a call asking about, hey, where's a commercial location for me to do X, Y, Z? And, you know, I go out there, I search, I try to find something, but to have something a little more organized like this would be really useful. And it would be an app I believe just about anyone could use. So just something I'm working on there. I want to thank the committee. So the applications were a few weeks ago back for the Wisconsin Tomorrow Small Business Grants. You probably heard me talk about those. Another set of grants that were funded by ARPA monies from the state, $5,000 grants directly to businesses. And I know I had a couple businesses reach out because they had talked to some of the committee members about the grants. Those were awarded, and just anecdotally from talking to lots of businesses that applied in the county, a lot of folks did get that funding. I'll be interested, I hope in the next couple months they'll give us some good data like they did with the We're All In grants, kind of how many we got, where they fell geographically, that sort of thing. So once I have that information, I'll present that to you. You know, we helped field a lot of questions on that, and then for people that some people got an initial denial, but they had to fix something, we helped considerably with just helping some folks fix those applications as well, though they weren't all that complicated. So anyway, a lot of good funding coming into the county, and I'll be eager to share with you once we know a little more about how much that actually was. The governor announced, I guess this would have been 2 weeks ago now, again, some of the ARPA money that that the state has coming in. They wanted to specifically focus on tourism and the entertainment industry, basically. So basically, these are the investments that the governor wants to put some of this ARPA money towards, though we don't have details yet on how it's going to work. But when I have more, I'll share it. $75 million for lodging grants, so that would be to motels, hotels, places like that. $11.25 million for movie theaters. $12 million for live event small businesses, $2.8 million for minor league sports teams, $10 million for live venues, $15 million for destination marketing organizations, $8 million for summer camps, $1 million for the Wisconsin Historical Society to assist in reopening historical sites, and $7.5 million to increase marketing support for Wisconsin's tourism industry. So, as you recall, it would have been in 2020, late 2020, the Department of Tourism put quite a bit of grant money available for folks, for entities to apply for, and we did receive an $8,500 grant, which funded our fall-winter campaign last year, our advertising campaign. As you know, we've got another campaign going on, a summer one, and my hope is hopefully there'll be some more grant monies available to do something in the fall. But anyway, it's very broad right now. These announcements come out for these monies are going to be there, but it takes usually a lot longer to know what the application process is going to be and things like that. So, but there is going to be some more monies out there, and as soon as we know details and businesses that actually could apply for them within the county, we'll be working hard to connect people with those grant monies. So,
That's really good because the entertainment, music, small artists really lost a lot during the
yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
pandemic.
Real quick, we continue to do our Discover Trempealeau counties. We were up at the Strum Community Trails, was it, I guess, 2 weeks ago now? And I mean, that was just a blast. If you haven't gotten up to those trails yet, do get up there. It's amazing what they've done in the last year. Collaboration between the Rod and Gun and the city and just groups of volunteers. So, and that show, Derek told me the other day from the studio that it's one of the more highly watched ones that they've seen. So that's really great. Some great advertisement out there as well. So, but yeah, get to those trails. They're really wonderful, and what a great addition to Trempealeau County. It's right by Crystal Lake and the golf course and the campground and just everything. So many outdoor rec opportunities up that way. So. Other than that, yeah, that's basically what I have. It continues to be a busy summer. Again, we don't have any numbers to share at this time, but anecdotally, looking around at businesses and places around the county, it seems busy to me, but we'll have to see how that actually equates to spending and that sort of thing, when we get those numbers. So that's what I have for you.
And the park is busy?
It is. Quite a few people stayed there this past week. Yeah, quite a few people stayed there over the 4th. So I'll be heading out there after this, actually.
Those are the things that are really happening right now, outdoor stuff. Okay. Our next meeting date will be August what? Okay.
Third,
And do we want to do that at Petrick? The The only issue being we wouldn't be able to go, well, maybe we could go live. The studio said there is some options maybe for that, so. But should we plan for Petrick?
I think we should, because then we can look at that other acquisition land, sort of, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Bring your bug spray. The deer flies are relentless. There's no mosquitoes, but the deer flies are. They're.
8:30?
So we're gonna.
If it's at the park, maybe could we do 9? Is that bad?
I think the staff, we can do whatever the committee wants to do.
Is
So-
9 okay or not?
What does it matter?
Nine's fine.
What?
Is it cooler in 8:30?
It's all right. I just have to leave by 7:30. 7.
Yeah, whatever the
40.
committee wants. We can do
Yeah,
8:39.
okay.
Should we-
All right,
what-
8:30 is fine.
Okay. 8:30. Yeah.
Okay.
So are we gonna have a bus tour, or are we just gonna have our meeting there?
We'll just have our meeting there, and then I imagine, I guess I'm not sure the logistics of and we just walk to the next property, I suppose.
Walk up there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Bring your walking shoes and your bug spray.
There you go.
All right. Well,
Get wet that time.
thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks.
We're adjourned?
Yep, we're adjourned.
All right. So we're going to meet upstairs.